So as I was saying, we have a Kejriwal in the house. Again, very, very dynamic, bright. He can create quite a storm in his own world. So, but no, it's not Arvind Kejriwal. It's Alok Kejriwal, CEO and co-founder of Games to Win, also founder of the Contest to Win group of companies. Alok, can we have you on stage, please? Well, Alok is going to be giving us a business case study, and you will have some time to come up with solutions to the problems he's going to present. The deadline is 4 p.m. Please submit your solutions at the registration desk by 4 o'clock today. Over to you, Alok. Yeah.
Thank you. So surname still has a lot to do.
Are you related?
And no, not at all. And we have differing views on everything. Having said that, my job is to do this, to get your mind to get this rush. So I'll try and do that. Real case study, no holds barred, no jazz, no gyan, no dhyan. Bear with me, make it very quick and snappy. When I was approached by the team, and I love, been reading this magazine for a long time. Almost grew up on this. I'm still old.
Yeah, we are pretty old. No, we are pretty old.
That's pun intended. But having said that, when the mandate was, can you give them a live business case study? I've sold my businesses every 5 years. So I was wondering, do I have a business that can become a case study? And then something struck me that happened to us. So incidentally, this is a real life problem that we face, and I'm going to try and make you share it with me. So enjoy it. And I think you'll announce what we need to do with this as we go along. So there's, the audience has to think about it and then become a bright spark.
Can we become a bright spark?
You can become a bright spark if you apply your mind. Can you guys, can we just, reduce the brightness a little bit, if you don't mind, on the frames, on the slides? Just
too much brightness happening here.
Yeah, that's it, right. So just. So let's assume, how many CEOs or everybody's a CEO, right? Or CEO in the making or whatever. So you're the owner. In the .com world.
Well, I'm not a CEO.
That's a frame of mind. So we're all CEOs. All CEOs. Let's start by saying we're all CEOs. That's a lot of money in the venture capital world, at least in India, if you get that kind of cash. And that's the business, right? Just get traffic. The business of eyeballs has come back with a rush. 98, 99 mandate was .com, eyeball, and then it all crashed. And if you look at the new business of everybody out there, including our Snapchat, that's throwing away Mark Zuckerberg from its office. It's all about traffic. So that's the mandate of the CEO. And you got to build a great games portal. That's as simple as it goes. So you hire the world's best teams. And, you really put your heart, soul, sweat, blood. You do a lot. You put in everything you've got with all that years of experience, with all the brain power in the room, with all the energy you've got, and you create actually some of the world's best games, sitting from your operations of this $5 million company. Interestingly, and you guys will get some case study material, the traction seems to be phenomenal. The company seems to be, completely on the right track, and there seems to be the perfect storm. The browser market is hot in the world. The games are getting, really appreciated. Consumers are playing. This seems to be like one of those 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 companies that's, you're going to make it. And then something very interesting happens. All of a sudden, that's where your traffic begins to go. Your traffic begins to plummet. Can you see? Sorry, the 2 is a little cut off. It's going downhill. And that's what's beginning to happen right in front of your very eyes. And when you look, nothing has changed, right? This is the bizarreness of the web. This is the bizarreness of the new world business economies. Nothing seems to have changed from the outside, but inside it's completely getting destroyed. So you look and you look and you look and you look, and you kind of keep on ruminating and keep on thinking, and you can do anything on the web, right? At least the web is transparent. The beauty of the web is you know exactly what's going on every second, minute of it being live. And you keep looking and find that you are the victim of some amazing piracy at work. These guys have landed up at your doorstep and have really struck your business. And this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to die. You will die. The way the business is getting affected, the way the pirates are storming your fortress and your games and your content. I shot this in the Ghent Museum of Torture, and it reminded me of myself. So, this is the case.
You'll be getting details in a docket. Yeah. All of you will be getting a docket with all the information on your screen.
This is the peak, right? This is what actually happens with that perfect storm. This is the moment of the perfect storm. 5 million uniques in month 18. And from 19, it begins to crash. Yeah. So 3,000 websites have stolen all the company's games. And that's the prima facie examination. We'll do this exercise part 2 in the evening when I kind of get your responses, and then we reveal what we did. But you'll be shocked at the eventual number of the number of people who've stolen the games. They're untraceable. They're pirates. I mean, the Somali pirates are sophisticated. These guys are real pirates, right? You can't even put them on an email. The interesting thing about, is anybody from Adobe here by any chance? I know Umang was, okay, awesome, man. You guys are my best friends. I love you. So these are all Adobe Flash games. Umang was here, was in the India Today conference last time. And these are great Adobe games. You can't do anything about them. They're supposed to be played and enjoyed. You're not supposed to protect them, like Cartier jewelry in a safe. So they get stolen. And, like all good VCs, there's trouble, man. These guys are saying, dude, what's up? What are you doing? How are you going to protect yourself? And eventually we reach a very nice moment in our company's life where every time we put out a new game, in 12 hours, the game is stolen. So that's the ultimate achievement. We have reached a point in time where the world begins to rob us in 12 minutes, 12 hours of being out there. So eventually, the vulture that I brought in, we're the ultimate feasting ground for vultures. That's what we have managed to build, and very successfully so. So the assignment is to figure out what you would do, how and why. That's it. Thank you.
Please present your solutions.
I'm still smiling, so guys, something did work. Let me tell you that. Don't come back and say, put yourself in the Parsi well in Bombay and be happy. There's something beyond that.
Well, please give in your solutions to this case study by 4 o'clock today and submit them at the registration desk. Alok will be announcing the bright spark of the day in the later half of the day. So in the evening, later in the evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alok. Well, it's result time now. About 2 hours ago, Alok had presented a case study, and he'd asked for solutions to the problem he'd presented in the case study. So can I please invite Alok Kejriwal back on the stage to announce the bright spark of BT MindRush. Did you have fun, Alok?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Check. So I did have fun, this is the first time I've done this case study because it's a case on ourselves. So I never presented this as a case study to other people. Interestingly, the results were almost what I expected. If I split the number of responses between There are two clear classes: acceptance and denial. 90% denied the problem. And when I say denied the problem, they went about saying, the mannerisms, God. 90% said, no, challenge them, beat them, strangle him, sue him, do everything that is negative. There's a few people who kind of skirted around the issue. I'd first like to announce the winner so that we can at least give credit to the person who I think was positive, looked at it from a larger, holistic point of view. Not surprisingly that he's from Adobe. So I think the only response I found really closer to the solution we implemented is by Vikrant Rai, if he's here. Awesome.
Vikrant Rai.
And Vikrant, and I won't belabor you with the rest of the detail, but just the headline kind of was an insight. His headline said, if you can't beat them, make them join you. Yes, piracy, the World Wide Web, everything else is all about collaboration, co-opetition, as I think the guy from JWT says, frenemy, make an enemy a frenemy or a friendly enemy. So, Vikrant, congratulations.
Congratulations, Vikrant. A big round of applause for Vikrant, please.
But I'd like to just also present our solution and what we did, because that also is important. So, if I can just use the PPT again. So, just a reminder, if you guys had amnesia, we talked about a case where all our games got stolen. Deep, we talked about Games to Win's problem in web browser games, and we put out 100 games, all of them got stolen, and then we eventually landed up in a situation where traffic began to tank, and so terribly so that we said it's going to go bust. And then we all sat down in a room and said, what do we do with this? So this is what we did. This was one of the games that got stolen, and I've chosen my favorite game because this, in many ways, exemplifies the approach we took. There's a game called Bombay Taxi, predictably about driving a Bombay taxi, and navigating the roads around Mumbai, and you can take your taxi and park it there, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the interesting thing. If you look for Bombay Taxi on the World Wide Web, at the time I captured this slide, 100,000 websites had stolen this game. In the case study, I talked about 3,000 sites, but the whole idea was to blow your mind out by saying, can you imagine 100,000 thieves in your company robbing it all away? And not just one, they kept robbing all these games. So the thought process was pretty much what Vikrant and a few people in the room said, let's hold on, man. Let's not talk about this negativity, this strangle them, sue them, let's go after them. There's no time. And to be really honest with you, that's not the ethos of the web. The web has its own rules. The web has its own underground culture. The culture is definitely not going up to people and smacking them in the eye. There's something else about the web. So the first thing we said was, if people steal your content, it must be great stuff. There's an acknowledgement of what we did well. And the second thing was, there's something funny about people stealing web content and putting it, because what do you do with web content? You don't take it and put it in your safe. You display that content. So if someone is taking your content, it means that someone else is getting a chance to see it. And if 100,000 thieves are taking my content, they're obviously serving it to a lot more people than we have never served before. So does it mean that the pirates are actually angel marketeers? The pirates are holy. They are distributors. They are the Antichrist, but they are the Christ. They are the people who have come in disguise. I'm a spiritual guy, and I keep thinking of, is this a ghost, but in an angel's disguise, or vice versa? So this is the contrarian, completely non-offensive line of thinking. And we had a eureka moment. I keep emphasizing, you have to clear your thinking. If your thinking is going down one route, like the D-Day route, then you're going to go down the D-Day route. But if you go back and say, what's the web all about? Let's embrace it. Then, things begin to shift. And the eureka moment was something called a technology we invented called InvisiAds. And it was inspired by Troy and by the Trojan horse. And it was an invisible piece of ad code that we slipped into all our games so that invisible ads would travel with the stolen content. And when that stolen game would then begin to play on pirated sites, that ad would begin to show up. And it would show up in the places we wanted it to show up, in the manner we wanted it to show up, and the ad would talk about things that we wanted the consumer to see and use that ad to curate consumer behavior. So the game would launch as it would on our site, on all the pirate sites, but these new ad units would appear in-game, pre-game, after-game. And to give you an example again, Bombay Taxi, this is how it would play on Games to Win. But before it would start on a pirate site, it would start with a simple 300 by 250 ad unit. And you know, someone asked me in the elevator, someone who was leaving, and he said, dude, give me the solution because I can't wait. And I said, sure. He said, did you put offensive messages on the ad? And that was another option. That, you know, let's kill the consumer. Let's say, hey, you know what, you're on a pirated site, this is not original content. And we said nothing of that sort. Let's be friendly. So we never ever insulted the pirates. We never told the consumer or made them feel comfortable. We said, this is our message. If you want more content like this, come to our site. If you enjoy this, you will enjoy this. You know, using the Amazon model, we looked at, if you're playing a boys game, we'll give you a car game, we'll give you 3 more car games. So we began to splice and dice the pirated consumer mindset, which is enough, could have been my daughter for all I know, playing a game, you know, innocently, and began to serve him or her content that they were playing. So the result was, you know, we exploded from 5 million uniques to 20 million. This is ComScore. We went up 4x on our traffic, reach audience as measured by ComScore, just because, you know, where 100,000 is to 1. It's so simple. I mean, the beauty of that whole business of the web is there are 100 other people better than you who can expose your content. They may not understand how to make money, but they will do a great job of stealing your content and showing it to people. But this is the pivot that I want to talk about. It was not even that. It was the ability to understand what people steal, which made us move to our next level. So we began to run contests in the company which said, if you're a game producer who matters, we will measure how many times your game has got stolen. That became the index of now achieving a star quality rating in Games to Win. How many times can you create piracy of your game? Because that's what consumers want. Eventually, we began to look at what do the Americans like to play? What do the Europeans like to play? And that helped us migrate to a generic parking game. So we killed the Bombay Taxi because that was very Mumbai and India. And we created a game called Parking Frenzy, which was, if you look at it, it was almost the same, but it was more, you know, international. We launched it on the web again, and we saw great success. And we took it to mobile, and last June it became the #1 game in the US. Wow. So that was the effect of saying, pirates, I love you, you're my gift from God, and I'll do anything to serve you and to learn from you. So the lessons we learned was pirates helped us. They made us understand what our consumers wanted. We couldn't do it on our own. And I keep talking about, you know, Sean Parker was a big bad boy with Napster. And then we saw him in Facebook and we saw what he did. And, you know, Deep, especially when I look at that guy now, I say, these music companies, are there any music companies in the room? Thank God, it's going to really give them a gali. Morons. That was him telling you what to do with distribution. That was the most elegant form of MP3 distribution ever invented. And, you know, Sean Parker was there telling you how to do it by a concept called Napster. And they closed him down. And they got him arrested. And what Steve Jobs did with iTunes was exactly that, in a legit way. So if 5 music companies would have got together, created a holding company, bought out Napster, gave him $500 million and say, hey dude, now let's make the same content legit with the same MP3 distribution. We're all in business and everybody's going to pay 99 cents and everything else will go away. But we didn't do that. So, you know, leave you with a thought. Do you have a situation that is contrarian, that is telling you, let's, you know, be negative and offensive, and can you turn it around? Can you be open-minded and contrarian? That's That's the lesson I wanted to present. Thank you.
Thanks, Alok.